Great, let's start. So first of all, well, hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today. The goal of today's webinar, well, is to discuss data analytics from a financial controller perspective and discuss how a visual data workflow approach, mainly using a solution called KNIME, can address some of the industry's challenges. Before we start, I wanted to remind you that you can ask questions at any time during the webinar using the chat section of this system. Of course, we want this webinar to be as interactive as possible, so please don't hesitate to ask any question. A quick word about today's speakers. So this being a joint webinar with our partner KNIME, we have Nestle who will introduce herself.
Thanks, Julian. Hello, everyone. Greetings from Berlin. First, I'd like to take a moment to thank and acknowledge our partner, Mydrill, for hosting this webinar today. It's definitely great to be a part of it, and I believe it will be tremendously helpful to see how to leverage visual workflow environments for custom data science, and in particular for financial analytics today. My name is Nesli Handönder, or Nesli for short. I'm working as a partner manager EMEA at KNIME, and it's always been a pleasure to be working with Mydrill. And today I will be very briefly introducing KNIME to you, and I'm genuinely thrilled to welcome all of you today with Mydrill. Over to you, Julian.
Thank you, Nestle. And on Mydrill's side, so we have Maxime, who is one of our data analysts, and he will be the one doing the demo today.
Hello, everyone.
And myself, Julian, who is in charge of Mydrill here in the UK. So I wanted to give you a quick overview of what we'll cover in today's webinar. So we'll briefly talk about Mydrill and KNIME as a company. So essentially, we'll tell you a bit more about who we are and what we do. We'll, of course, discuss the context, benefits, and challenges of data analytics from a financial controller's context. And finally, we'll showcase some of these concepts with a business use case and a live demo of KNIME, which, as mentioned, will be done by Maxime. And of course, we'll keep some time at the end to answer some of the questions that you might have and that you can ask during this webinar. So as I just mentioned, I wanted to briefly introduce you to Mydrill and tell you a bit more about us. I'll stay very brief so we can focus on the heart of today's topic. And to summarize, so we're a consultancy firm that specializes in data analytics and business intelligence. We like to describe ourselves as data pure player, and that's because all that we do revolves around data and helping our customer understand their data and generate value from that data. And that, from consultancy perspective, that translates into a number of things like help in choosing and implementing the right data and business intelligence solutions, to advisory services, project management, or training services around those solutions. As I mentioned, all that we do revolves around data, and we've built our business so that we can support our customers' project at every stage of the data value lifecycle, which you're seeing here, which is from data preparation all the way to the data visualization stage. So what you see here is all the steps that data needs to go through to generate value, from defining, of course, the business question that you want to solve, and then finding the data and making it go through the various stages that you see here, like data governance, data science application, all the way to building report dashboards and more storytelling to approach to telling and getting insights. And depending on where you are in your analytical journey, we are going to leverage different internal expertise and partners like KNIME for the data preparation and data science side of things, Vertica, for example, for data warehousing, or Tableau software for the data visualization part. And the idea is to take a best-of-breed approach to selecting the technology solution that's going to help our customer address their data challenges. So that's Mydrill in a nutshell, and as we'll focus on data preparation with KNIME today, I will now leave the floor to Nestle, who will introduce KNIME. Nestle, it is up to you.
Thank you. Well, I start with what's KNIME software and who is KNIME, for those of you who are not familiar with KNIME yet. KNIME is an end-to-end visual data analytics platform to help individuals and organizations gain value from their data. So it's quite fast and intuitive software that covers everything from Excel automation to advanced data science. And by bridging the worlds of dashboards and advanced analytics, KNIME mainly shortens the distance between data and action. So it provides no-code, intuitive drag and drop interface for everyone with different skill sets who want to make sense of their data, and accordingly empowers more business experts regardless of their technical background. It also allows you to mix and match technologies, as we have open source integrations that provide seamless access to some very cool open source projects, such as Keras for deep learning, H2O for high performance machine learning, Python and R for scripting, and many more. Well, we're headquartered in Zurich, Switzerland, but we also have offices across Europe and the USA. We definitely do take pride in our global partner ecosystem that provides specific industry knowledge and the capabilities for our customers all around the world. And last but definitely not least, with being open source and free, we thrive on our community with hundreds of thousands of active members. Next slide, please. And as you see here, KNIME supports every step of data science lifecycle, from data access from various databases to ETL functionalities, followed by advanced data science. And you have plenty of options for visualization and deployment. And our core software, KNIME Analytics platform, is free and open source, and it provides a single intuitive environment for anybody working with data, enabling them throughout the data creation. So you can blend your data from any source, shape your data, build machine learning models, visualize, and share your insights. And you can also enjoy our free extensions and integrations. And the platform is complemented by our enterprise-grade features of KNIME Server that facilitate collaboration and deployment via secure apps and services, hence enabling the production of data science. Well, this is KNIME in a nutshell, and without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Julian. And as he encouraged you to do so, please feel free to use our chat for your questions during the event or drop us an email afterwards. So happy to answer some of your questions as time allows at the end. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nestle, for this overview. So now getting into, I guess, maybe the heart of today's topic and talking about analytics for financial controllers and to a greater extent, financial department. And the use of data and data analytics is obviously far from being new for the organization, especially for financial departments. However, what we're seeing is that today, the increasing amount of data, the complexity of organizations, but also the rapid changes in structure, business processes, and so forth are putting a lot of new pressure on those departments. And it's safe to say that the goal for finance leader today is to become more agile, more responsive with more accurate plans and projection to help business go through those transformations. And if we take a step back and just look at data-driven organization, I think it's safe to assume that we're all aware of the power of data and the benefit of being a data-driven organization. But I wanted to take kind of a step back and go over a general view of it. And we can summarize it in three, I guess, benefit or categories. The ability to give people access to information and insights, for them to understand what happened, what is happening, and more what might happen in the future. It's also about making it faster and more and allowing them to make more confident decision. Once again, the ability to look at the data and take decision in a more agile and responsive way is really key here. And finally, it's all about making better decision, better strategic decision, the ability to listen and better understand the business, to ultimately improve operations and products and services, really going over all those various departments and enterprise wide. And of course, this is particularly true for financial controllers who, once again, are constantly under pressure to accelerate their processes and decision making to keep up with competition. And not doing so can have a lot of consequences for the business, from having inaccurate plans and projection to slowing down business stakeholders from making decisions to even potential regulatory compliance risk. But the reality is that there's significant challenges for the finance team who needs to pull data from multiple sources across the enterprise and then need to synthesize it into intelligent information in not only quickly but efficiently and accurately. And the amount of a hurdle that those teams have because they have to deal with disconnected data system and processes where they have difficulty in collecting that data and collating it, sharing in a timely manner across different departments. The fact that they have today to deal with many manual tasks that takes a lot of time. So finance professionals are spending way too much time performing manual tasks such as sorting, organizing data instead of spending time essentially analyzing it. Other very complex or difficult hurdles that they're having is the lack of collaboration. They need to go away from isolated forecasting activities to a more real-time enterprise-wide forecast process. The difficulty in verifying the accuracy or the quality of data, and last but not least, the difficulty in accessing the right tool, the tools that they need that could help them address some of those challenges. And this is what we're going to try to focus on today with a tool such as KNIME. And I do want to do like a parenthesis to talk about how these challenges are particularly emphasized in organizations who predominantly use spreadsheet processes. The reality is that Excel's been around for the last 30 years now, and because of that, working with data in Excel can be simple and most importantly comfortable. But the reality is that this has created a situation where people try to solve almost every data-related task with Excel, from storing data to cleaning data, creating formulas and calculation, to even sharing those analysis. But Excel is not adapted, especially to the increasing volume and complexity of data sources that financial controller have to deal with today. And this plays a big role in the lack of agility and responsiveness that those teams are experiencing and businesses are experiencing. And I wanted to highlight some of the most common challenges and time-consuming aspects that one can experience and that we probably all experience at least once when using Excel on a regular basis. The first that I want to mention are the size limitation and the difficulty in dealing with multiple data sets, which I think, once again, we have all experienced at least once. Not knowing whether we will be able to open the files, whether it might freeze when dealing with a large file, or having to deal with copy and pasting from one Excel sheet to another, or one tab to another. All that is just very time consuming and prone to errors. The other two that I really wanted to emphasize are the ability to audit and troubleshoot, as well as the sharing and collaboration aspect of Excel, of using Excel. Both can be quite challenging because of its lack of transparency or how easy it is to delete a cell, break a formula, or just trying to understand what was previously done by another department or by a colleague. And what we find out is one way through the numerous projects that we work with, that we worked on, one way to address these challenges is to use purposely built data preparation analytic tools like KNIME, who offers a visual workflow approach. As Nestle mentioned, KNIME is a solution that was built from the ground up to handle large volume of data and help you cross multiple data sources, automate repetitive tasks. And there's all the major point that we saw was a major hurdle in becoming more agile and more efficient. On top of that, KNIME was built so that anyone, regardless of their technical skills, can start using it. So it's easy to adopt, easier to spread within the organization, and that makes it a very strong tool to implement in those teams. And as we mentioned earlier, there's no code required to use that, and that plays a role in this easiness to use. To make a point around this visual workflow approach, which Maxime will show you or illustrate, it essentially helps you to monitor and keep a clear audit trail of data manipulation. It allows you to easily trace and retrace your step, whether it's yours or your colleagues or another department steps at any point in your workflow and at any time. And once again, this creates an environment of transparency where everyone can understand what was done and troubleshoot it or audit what happened, so that it's, once again, very transparent and promote collaboration. So obviously the goal of today is to illustrate all the concept that I just mentioned and that Nestle mentioned. So without further ado, I will leave Maxime take control and share his screen and do a demo of today. Maxime, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks, Julian. So financial controllers need to be efficient and use a lot of data to lead their team and ensure the success of their company. So in this webinar, we will have a look at two use cases. The first one is about sales representative results over several years. And the second one is about tracking money spent on different projects. So we will use KNIME to process our data. And then we'll show you third-party software to visualize your data. You can go on. We can see the final results of our two workflow. The first one, I will do it with you in live. And the second one, I will just present it. So we will connect to many database. Here, it's only Excel files, but we can connect to different data lake and data warehouse. I will show you later how to do it. And then we'll execute it on a server to show you how to share your work with your colleague. So I will take the control and share my screen. Just right there. Tell me if it's okay. You can see my screen clearly.
All good, yeah.
That's good. Perfect. So let's start. In KNIME, we can find 7 main areas. Here, the first one is the KNIME Explorer. You can it allows you to see the workflow present in your KNIME. For example, I have my workflow KNIME project here. The workflow coach, just right there. It gathers a node advised by KNIME community for the treatment of our data. For example, you can see 30% of the community use a table creator at first on a blank space. Then the node repository. Here we'll find all the node installed in our KNIME, and it's possible to download plugins to have even more nodes specific to a problem, like connect to different data warehouse, like Vertica to have some different outputs, like .hyper for Tableau, but I will present it later. Then we have the outline, just right there, to move more quickly in our workflow. When your workflow is very huge, you have to move quickly from the beginning to the end. The console, right there. I'll show it like this. Right there. This is where we will find the error message and the result of our request. And then on the right, I will just show a node, for example, just like this one, for example. Just here, you can see we have a node description with the definition of the node we click on. Just yeah. It's a very good reminder of what you are using. So for the data, just right there, we can see that we have many lines of data, many lines, and many pages with totally different information. It's very complicated to find our way around and to process the data quickly and efficiently in order to respond to various problems. That's why we will use KNIME. So, as we said before, the first use case is how to track sales per salesperson per month. So go back to KNIME. If you have ever installed KNIME out of your curiosity, you can do it with me. You will see it's very easy. I just remove the coach and the outline to have more space for you. So we can do a right click on the local, new KNIME workflow. You can give a name. Here it's KNIME/project2. We create it. You have the blank space and your data. My data it's already up on my KNIME workspace. So you take your data, you drag and drop on your blank space, and then the node find my data on the first sheet of my Excel file. We can have a little preview of my data. As we can see in the Excel, it's the same thing. Just hit OK. And then we can begin to process and to process your data. First of all, we'll do a column filter. That's why that drag and drop. Connect them by dragging the arrow on the right with the arrow on the left of my new node. Don't forget to execute the node, just like this. And now we can see on the node monitor, we have the result of my process. Just right there. Here it's only my information. So in column filter, I just right click, configure. Here we can see by default, I keep all my data, but I don't want to see all my data. So with the double arrow on the left, I will just say I just want to exclude everything, but I will take some just by double clicking, like order ID, commercial ID, territory ID, and order date. I'll just tell him I just want to keep this four columns. And I forgot a fifth one. It's the total amount. So I just want to keep this fifth column. It's OK. Execute. You can use F7 too. So just using your keyboards. And now I processed the first task. And then I have my new data with only fifth column. Here we can see we have some interrogative marks on the salesperson ID columns. It's something I don't want to keep after because it just tell me that this sales ID don't have a salesperson ID. We can imagine people buy online and not with a salesperson. So I just want to erase all the lines with the interrogative marks. So node repository, one more time, row filter, like this, drag and drop. If you want to search a new node, you just can go. Oh yes, I have a lot of open. You just can go because of that. You can just go into the node repository and search. For example, I just want to manipulate my data. So you go in manipulation. I want to manipulate column. And you can have a different folder with the different node with the different action. So if you don't know the name of your node you want to use, you just can browse like this and find the perfect node for your task. So here you drag and drop the row filter, connect it one more time, right click configure. Here we have a lot of filter criteria. As I said, I want to exclude a row with missing values. I will tell him take my salesperson ID, like a column test. I click on only missing value match. Okay, I press F7 to execute. And now we can see we got 31,000 of rows. Now we have only 3,000. So with only salesperson ID. So it was very, very easy, very quick. When you have a little bit of training, you can do it very fast, very quickly. So then we did the first step, but we have a little problem in the Excel. A problem we can't see. You know, when you are in the Excel, for us, everything is okay on our data. But if you right-click on the row filter, or when you right-click on every node, you can go to filter. You see all your data, and you can see the type of your data. Just right there, I can see my sales ID is an integer. I can show my salesperson ID is a string. It will be a problem because the meaning it's in my Excel, I have a string here, and then in my other data source, I know I will have integer. So when I will want to join them, to merge them, it won't work. So it's a first problem we have in the Excel, and we will correct it just by using a node called string to number. String to number. Drop one more time. To number. Drag and drop one more time, and we just have to configure it that way. Right-click configure, and tell him I just want to keep my ID commercial and transform it in an integer. It's okay. And now we think it's okay for the next step. So we could do it. We could do everything on Excel so far, but now we'll go further in the explanation in the process. So we'll take one more time my startup data because it's my data source. And this time I just want to take the page with my commercial information because I want his name and last name because I don't know what mean this ID. I don't know these people, and I want to have and I want to enhance my data to understand who is selling the most. So right-click one more time, execute. Column filter one more time, very easy. It's better to filter your information at the beginning because when you have a workflow with hundreds of nodes and millions of lines, it's better to filter your information to have only the column you want, only the row you want to use. It's better, and the KNIME will process more faster, obviously. So configure. It's the same things, very fast. I want the name and last name, the first name and last name, and the salesperson ID. So, okay. Then you think it's okay. And now I will merge them with my node joiner. Just like this. I connect them together, right-click, configure. And now I will tell KNIME, I want to match my ID, my salesperson ID on the both data source to have a new data, a new table like this, with the name and last name of my salesperson. So everything is good now. And as we said, we want to have the summarize of the sum of the total amount of sales per order date. Here, order date are in month. So we'll use the node group by. Very, very useful node, you will see. Link, right-click. And then I will tell him I want to keep in for my final table my salesperson ID, my territory ID, because I want to see where they are selling the most. First name and last name, and the total, not the total amount, not the order date. And for the total amount of selling per month, we will go to manual aggregation and tell him, I want you to make a sum on each total amount per ID commercial, salesperson ID. So it's okay. and we will see we have all my, I think it's good. We have the total amount of sales per date, order date, like you can see with my commercial on different territory. So we nearly finished our processing to process the data. We will announce it one more time with my territory name. So drag and drop the information, click territory, because I want to have the name of my territory, because one more time, I don't know what the ID mean. Hit OK. And then we'll do one more time a joiner, just like this, to merge my information on my true source of data, like this. Right click. Oh, I just have to execute it. Just perfect. Configure. Up ID territory, they are matching, and now I have a complete table of data. Now I'll just filter everything because I don't want to keep all the column. One more time, a filter, just like this. I told you it was very, very simple. Configure, and now I will just only keep ID, salesperson ID, the first name and last name, the total amount of sales per order date, just like this, and the name of my territory, because I want to know where are we selling the most. Hit OK, and then we can see we process all of our data to see per order date how much they sales by territory, by salesperson. So just right there. And for the first party software, I want to have an output. I want an export of my data. So as we did before, we read the Excel, and now we will write a new Excel. We can imagine to writing in database or in something else. Here it's an Excel because it's very easy. Configure, browse. I tell him to go on my desktop and tell him our results. I got one before for the testing. Save. And now we have some writing option. For example, failed. If my files already exist, don't overwrite it. Just don't do anything. Happened. For example, I have data. My data lake update every day in the morning at 7 in the morning. And then I will tell my workflow. You will merge my information each day. So now each day you will have the information of the previous day, of the day of today, and then every day you will have the new data happened. And the last one is overwrite. Overwrite is just erase the last results and create a new file. Here I will overwrite it. So it's okay. Execute. Oh, it's not okay with it for him. Right, it's not okay. Just go to the console. Oh yes, okay. I just have to close it. Sorry. Like, yes, I know. Because it's because of the name of my it. I will call him webinar only. Yeah, because I already have a webinar result. So Windows don't allow me to do it, to have two files with the same name. Execute. And now go on the on my desktop, and I have my output. So just right there, I have my output. So we process all our data to respond to our problem very quickly and very easy. It was very easy with just some action. It was nearly the same. Huh? Just upload the data, filter it, make some action, some calcul, and then output the information. And then with a third-party software like Tableau, we can output the information, and we can see Linda Mitchell is the best salesperson. The territory where we sell the most is the southwest of America. We can see per month the total amount of sales, like this. and a table with per salesperson how much they sales per year. So we respond our first business case. It was pretty easy and pretty fast. And we'll do the first workflow. So let's go to the second workflow. I create a new blank space. And I want to show you something very powerful for me from KNIME. I will give you the link just after. You can go on the KNIME forum, for example. Here it's the KNIME forum, and people create some workflow to respond a problem. Here it's spending money problems. So you have some projects with money assigned and money used, and you want to know how many was used and assigned and how much money is remaining. So you can go take KNIME just like this, drag and drop. Oh, yes, I just need to do that. Drag and drop on KNIME, and then I have my workflow. I told you it's very powerful and very easy to use. Well, here I just have to save, but I won't save it for me because I already have it, just right there. And we can see my files just right there with the information, as I told you, money assigned, money used. I will go very fast on this one. I will be very quick. You can see the calculation of the money spent and the money assigned in the project. And here we can see a node, a special node, it's a meta node. How it works, you can right click and open. It's just a bunch of nodes you merge together to do an action. And this meta node, you can copy paste it to give it to your colleagues. So here it's just calculate on the remaining money on the project. You can just copy paste and just give it to your colleagues, and they can use your meta node. So if you're in a big company with a many workflow, you can be more efficient and more quicker just by creating meta nodes to do some calcul, some task. So one of the best example for me, it's a predictive task, for example. Now we'll see how to share your work with your colleagues, because what we did, we create a workflow in my computer. So now you can just copy paste like this, copy, go on the KNIME server. I already have one, paste it. No, I don't want to overwrite like this. Oh, I don't. Well, no problem. It's a big deal. Well, it's the name of my previous one. But you can see I just upload on my server my workflow, and now all my colleagues can use it. And you can, as we did before, now I will erase it, delete it. We can go on this one. It's the same one. Huh? We can just tell him, now I want you to process on the server to have my output, my Excel output on the server, and to share it with all of my colleagues automatically. So I will just reset my nodes, tell him to execute, and you will see, now I have my new data, sales performance. It's the same output than I show you. It's the same, you can see here, it's the same things. And now you share it with your colleagues. So we saw KNIME, it's a very powerful tool to process data very quickly, to share it with your colleagues. And one more thing, the last one, I just want to show you this one here, KNIME project. You can add a mini plugin on your KNIME. Just go in File, install KNIME extension, and you will see mini extension you can have. Well, here I have to type the name because it will take a little bit of time. So you can see extension about big data for connection with Apache, Mojo. This one, I don't know this one, but you can install it if you want. And you have many nodes. And moreover, you can go online and search for a specific company extension on KNIME and download it and use them and use their nodes. For example, I can type Tableau. I don't remember if it's Tableau. Voila. I show you Tableau software, but Tableau software have have their own type of files. So instead of use Excel Writer, I can go to Tableau Writer, and to create it, so I just have to browse and put the output location and tell him, I want you to output a Tableau file. I want you to go to the to connect to the database and upload my new data. For example, if you type Vertica, you can say, I want to connect to Vertica data warehouse. We have a connector just by download it. So we can use nearly all the source of data. Just imagine here is not Excel. Imagine here we have one Excel sheet, here one Vertica connector, so data warehouse connector, and here an API. And now imagine do it on Excel. It will be very, very hard. And in the company, sometimes you don't have all your data in the good files and the good Excel with the right input. So you need to use to do many tasks, very long, to process your data to use them. Now with KNIME, it's very easy, quick, and easy to learn because it's only drag and drop. You don't need to code, and then that's why for me KNIME is one of the best tools on the market to process data. So that's all for me. I think I talked about everything. So it's up to you, Julian.
Thank you very much, Maxime, for this presentation and this demo. So we don't have much time. So I just wanted to, close things up here and let you know that, if you want to get started on KNIME, I hope that you saw during this webinar that KNIME is a very easy to use tool that doesn't require any coding, as we said many times. Of course, there's a learning curve like everything, but if you spend some time playing with the solution and there's the help of, as Nestle mentioned, a community, there's a lot of tutorials, blog posts available online, and there's a lot of support to help you do that. The other information is that KNIME is completely free to download, so there's no cost aspect to it at that point. And of course, if you want to speed up the process, then we can also help. We have some training services around KNIME, and something that we offer as well before we let you go is that we have an initiative called Meet Your Doctor, where you can book a one-to-one chat with one of our experts completely for free and get support around KNIME or any other data-related question. So that is pretty much it. Thank you again very much for attending this webinar. We hope to see you on another one very soon, and we hope you have a great day. Thank you very much. Thank you.